Number 4 is a guy that has risen a lot, right? Barry talked about him when him and Josh did a Senior Bowl breakdown, and talking about some of those guys. You know, Barry had mentioned that this guy impressed all 3 days, and I like this player a lot. I hate the school he went to. Shocker. Well, I'm even wearing, so I think that kind of gives it away. Roman Wilson, out of the University of Michigan. He's 6 foot tall, 192 pounds, 22 years old. Roman Wilson is, he's fascinating. And the reason why I say that is big part due to the school he went to, right? It's no secret that Michigan made their bread and butter running the football, right? Great offensive line, great run game with Corum, with Edwards. They're going to run the football. So the pass game was kind of second option there, right? And, if you want to talk about J.J. McCarthy, I can sit here and tell you a billion reasons why I'm not a huge fan. But Roman Wilson, when he did get the ball, I liked him a lot. I thought he was a really good player. His 2022 season, 25 receptions, 376 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaged 15.0. 2023, last year, 48 receptions, 789 yards, 12 touchdowns, 16.4 average. So, again, the stats are not like mind-blowing. They're not stats that are going to blow you away. But the pros and the cons. Roman Wilson has raw explosiveness. Just God-given natural talent. Explosive, which is kind of hard to explain when you turn on the film and you watch Roman Wilson. His speed is unique. His speed is dynamic. And this is a guy, like, you don't want him to end up on a team like the Chiefs, right? You saw what they did with little to nothing at wide receiver. You add a guy like this, that would be bad. He's great against zone. He is great finding holes in the zone, getting open, and catching the football. He has great hands. There are multiple instances where those are NFL catches that you're seeing Roman Wilson make. And, for me, I think it was consistent, right? That's a big thing you look for. Consistency, what the hands look like at an NFL level in college. It's kind of hard to judge. With Roman Wilson, again, he didn't get as many opportunities as some of these other guys, but he made the most with them. He was their number one receiver, right? Another guy who's in this draft from Michigan, Cornelius Johnson, he's a big guy, right? This is a big, deep threat who you look at and you say, hey, that's a guy that you should be throwing deep to. No, Roman Wilson was the guy. He was the impact player at the wide receiver position. And he did it against good talent, right? He did it consistently against good talent. And I personally value that the most, right? And again, guy who impressed Barry at the Senior Bowl. I respect Barry a lot. I think his opinion certainly matters. And, being up close and personal, if you like what you see, that's really good. So I like Roman Wilson a lot. Now his cons, he has had injuries due to his frame. Again, he's 6 foot 192. He's kind of a skinny kid, but I think I feel more confident with Roman Wilson getting that fixed as far as like his frame goes. I think he has meat to be put on the bones, right? Where you look at somebody like Jalen McMillan, who I talked about, who's my 10th ranked receiver. I think he's going to struggle. I think his size could really become an issue. I don't know how much that's going to change, right? There's going to have to be a lot of emphasis and a lot of work put into it. Roman Wilson struggles with physical corners, right? If you're up in his face, you get hands on him, he's going to struggle, right? Again, he is great against zone, But when you're playing man-on-man, physical, up front, right, if you got like Martin Emerson against him, he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle. But the stuff that he does well kind of overshadows it, in my opinion. I think this is stuff that you want to, it's worth taking, right? All these guys have flaws, but Roman Wilson, stuff that he does great, is worth taking. And I think this is a guy that at 54, if he's there, depending on who else is there, you pull the trigger on. You know, and maybe if some of these guys go earlier and, you know, you feel like you need to trade up a little bit, I would do it. I think it's worth it. So I like Roman Wilson a lot. However, I do have to mention, and I'm going to throw this in here because we're talking about it, one negative that's going to be talked about with Roman Wilson is his personality. He's got a little bit of juju in him, not going to lie. And I'm not a big fan of that. At the end of the day, I don't care. It's how you play on the football field that matters to me. You know, but this is a guy who's going to go on social media. He's going to run his mouth. You know, and if you win, if that's a guy who's on your team, you like it. But if you play against it, you hate it, right? It's not to bring it up, but like the Baker Mayfield effect, right? But obviously it's not just Baker. There's a ton of guys. But just saying, Roman Wilson, a lot to love. I think he's going to be good at the next level. He's a player I would like to see end up on the Browns in certain scenarios. You know, but there are some negatives there. For me, again, like I said, he's somebody I would pick at 54. Depending on who's there, he's somebody that if guys get picked early that I like, I would trade up to get him, right? I think he's that good. Some people are even talking about him being like top of the second, bottom of the first. So, again, similar to Ladd McConkey, he's a guy who the hype is going through the roof. So, we'll see. We'll see where he ends up getting picked. But I do think he will be in striking distance for the Browns. That is why he's on my list. I have him at number 4.